Welcome friends, myself I am Yoganandam, biology lecturer from EDAL Academy. In today's class, we are going to discuss one of the important topic from 12th standard biology. The topic is biotechnology, principles and processes. Before going to the topic, those who are watching our YouTube channel, you are requested to like, subscribe and share to your friends. Those who are already subscribed, you are requested to follow our YouTube channel. Let us begin the topic. Herbert Boyer, in the year of 1936, completed his graduation in 1963. By 1969, he performed studies on a couple of restriction enzyme of the E. coli bacterium with especially useful properties. Boyer observed that these enzymes have the capability of cutting DNA called plasmids and which float about freely in cytoplasm of certain bacterial cells and replicate independently from the coding strand of DNA. Cohen had developed a method of removing these plasmids from the cell and then reinserting them in another cell, combining this process with that of DNA splicing enabled Boyer and Cohen to recombine segments of DNA in desired configurations and insert the DNA in bacterial cells, which could then act as manufacturing plants for specific proteins. Biotechnology deals with the techniques of using live organisms or enzymes from organisms to produce products and process useful to human. Try to remember what is biotechnology. Biotechnology deals with techniques of using live organisms, that is living organisms or enzymes for organisms to produce products and process useful to human. For example, through biotechnology, the following things are possible: making curd, making bread, making wine. These are all microbes mediated process. In vitro fertilization leading to test tube baby, synthesizing a gene and using it, developing a DNA vaccine, correcting a defective gene. These are all possible through biotechnology. However, it is used in restricted sense today to refer to such of these processes which use genetically modified organisms to achieve the same on a large scale. The EFB, that means European Federation of Biotechnology, has given a definition of biotechnology that encompasses both traditional view and modern molecular biotechnology. The definition given by EFB is the integration of natural science and organisms, cells, parts thereof, and molecular analogues for products and services. Process of the recombinant DNA technology. The recombinant DNA technology was discovered by Cohen and Boyer. Try to remember who discovered recombinant DNA technology: Cohen and Boyer. Genetic engineering or recombinant DNA technology can be accomplished only if we have the key tool. First one is restriction enzyme. The second one is polymerase enzyme. Third one is ligases. Fourth one is vectors. And the fifth one is host organism. So these are the things necessary to carry out recombinant DNA technology process. It is followed by the principles of biotechnology. Among many, the two core techniques that enabled birth of modern biotechnology are genetic engineering. Techniques to alter the chemistry of genetic material such as DNA and RNA to introduce these into host organism and thus change the phenotype of the host organism. The second one is bioprocessing. Genetic engineering is followed by bioprocess engineering. Maintenance of sterile, that is microbial contamination free ambience in chemical engineering process to enable growth of only the desired microbe or eukaryotic cell in large quantities for the manufacture of biotechnological products like antibiotics, vaccines, enzymes, etc. The conceptual development of the principles of genetic engineering, the advantages of sexual reproduction over asexual reproduction. The former provides opportunities for variations and formulations of unique recombinations of the genetic setup, some of which may be beneficial to the organisms as well as the population. Asexual reproduction preserves the genetic information while sexual reproduction permits variation. Traditional hybridization procedures used in plant and animal breeding very often lead to inclusion and multiplication of undesirable genes along with the desired genes. The techniques of genetic engineering, which include creation of recombinant DNA, use of cloning, that is gene cloning and gene transfer, overcome this limitation and allows us to isolate and introduce only one or a set of desirable genes without introducing undesirable genes into the target organism. The likely fate of a piece of DNA which is somehow transferred into an alien organism, most likely this piece of DNA would not be able to multiply itself in the progeny cells of the organism. But when it gets integrated into the genome of the recipient, it may multiply and be inherited along with the host DNA. This is because the alien piece of DNA has become part of the chromosome, which has the ability to replicate. In a chromosome, there is a specific DNA sequence called the origin of replication, which is responsible for initiating replication. Therefore, for the multiplication of any alien piece of DNA in an organism, it needs to be a part of chromosome which has a specific sequence known as origin of replication. Thus, an alien DNA is linked with the origin of replication so that this alien piece of DNA can replicate and multiply itself in the host organism. This can also be called as cloning or making multiple identical copies of any template DNA. The construction of the first recombinant DNA emerged from the possibility of linking a gene encoding antibiotic resistant with a native plasmid. It is generally called as autonomously replicating circular extrachromosomal DNA that is isolated from Salmonella typhimurium. Cohen and Boyer accomplished this in the year of 1972 by isolating the antibiotic resistance gene by cutting out a piece of DNA from a plasmid, which was responsible for conferring antibiotic resistance. The cutting of DNA at specific locations became possible with the discovery of the so-called molecular scissors. It is generally called as restriction enzymes. The cut piece of DNA was then linked with the plasmid DNA. The linking of antibiotic resistant gene with the plasmid vector became possible with enzyme DNA ligase, which act on the cut DNA molecules and join their ends. This makes a new combination of circular autonomously replicating DNA created in vitro, and it is known as recombinant DNA. When this recombinant DNA is transferred into E. coli bacterium, the full form is Escherichia coli, a bacterium closely related to Salmonella. It could replicate using the new host DNA polymerase enzyme and make multiple copies. What do you know about plasmids? Plasmids are used as vectors for gene cloning because they self-replicate in bacterial cells. This transfer of recombinant DNA is similar to the transfer of material parasite from diseased person to healthy person through female Anopheles mosquito that act as a insect vector. The plasmid DNA act as vector to transfer the antibiotic resistant gene attached to it. Plasmids are the vectors suitable for cloning long DNA fragments. Try to remember, plasmids differ from plasmids. Plasmids also vectors suitable for cloning long DNA fragments. Principles of biotechnology followed by tools of recombinant DNA technology. Now we know from the foregoing discussion that genetic engineering or recombinant DNA technology can be accomplished only if you have the key tools such as restriction enzymes, polymerase, that is a kind of enzyme, ligases, vector, and host organism. Let us try to understand some of these in detail. First, we are going to discuss about restriction enzymes. In the year of 1963, the two enzymes responsible for restriction growth of bacteriophage in E. coli were isolated. First, let us discuss about restriction enzymes. In the year of 1963, the two enzymes responsible for restricting growth of bacteriophage in E. coli were isolated. One of these added methyl groups to DNA while the other cut DNA. The later was called restriction endonuclease. It is otherwise called as molecular scissors or chemical knives. Restriction endonuclease. The first restriction endonuclease was HIND2, that is HIN2. HIN2, it is generally called as HINDEETWO. HIND2 was isolated from bacterium Haemophilus influenzae. Functioning of HIN2 dependent on specific DNA nucleotide sequence was isolated and characterized 5 years later. It was found that HIN2 always cut DNA molecules at particular point by recognizing a specific sequence of 6 base pairs. The specific base sequence is known as the recognition sequence for HIN2. The specific base sequence is known as the recognition sequence for HIN2. Refer the diagrammatic representation. The action of restriction enzyme is very clearly given with the help of diagrammatic representation. Besides HIN2, today we know more than 900 restriction enzymes that have been isolated from over 230 strains of bacteria, each of which recognizes different recognition sequences. Example, for ECORI, the recognition sequence is towards 5-3 direction GAATTC, towards 3-5 direction CTTAAG. So that is the recognition sequence of E. coli bacterial enzyme, restriction enzyme. Nucleases are broadly divided into two types that you try to remember: exonucleases and endonucleases. Exonucleases remove nucleotides from the end of DNA. That is, exonucleases can cut the DNA at end of the DNA sequence only. Endonucleases makes the cut at a specific position within the DNA, that can cut in between the DNA, the middle of the DNA. Restriction endonucleases are actually synthesized by bacteria from their defense. Bacteria protect themselves from viruses by fragmenting viral DNA with endonuclease. Restriction enzymes belongs to larger class of enzymes called as nucleases. These are two kinds: exonucleases and endonucleases. Exonucleases, try to remember once again. Exonucleases remove nucleotides from the ends of the DNA, whereas endonucleases make cut at specific points within the DNA. Then let us discuss about the nomenclature of restriction enzymes. The convention of naming these enzymes is the first letter of the name comes from the genus. Second letter comes from the species of the prokaryotic cell from which they were isolated. Example, ECORI comes from Escherichia coli RY13. From that, E represent genus, CO represent species name, R represent name of the strain, I represent indicate the order in which the enzyme were isolated from the strain of bacteria. In ECORI, the letter R is derived from the name of the strain. Roman numbers following the name indicate the order in which the enzymes were isolated from the strain of bacteria. What are the functioning of restriction endonuclease? Functions of restriction endonuclease. Each restriction endonuclease functions by inspecting the length of the DNA sequence. Once it finds its specific recognition sequence, it will bind to the DNA and cut each of the helix at specific points in their sugar phosphate backbones. Each restriction endonuclease recognizes a specific palindromic nucleotide sequence in the DNA. Palindromes are the group of letters that form a same words when read both forward and backward direction. Example, Malayalam, while you are reading forward direction or backward direction, the same letters will come. And Kanak, K-A-N-A-K, it is another example. The palindrome in DNA is a sequence of base pairs that reads same on the two strands when orientation of reading is kept the same. For example, the following sequences read the same on the two strands in 5 to 3 direction. This is also true if reads in the 3 to 5 direction. See the given example, GAATTC towards 5-3 direction. Same like 3 to 5 direction, CTTAAG. Restriction enzymes cut the strands on DNA a little away from the center of the palindrome sites, but between the same two bases on the opposite strands. Example, ECORI cuts the DNA between bases G and A only. When the sequence GAATTC is in the DNA, the enzyme cuts both DNA strands at the same site. This leaves single-stranded portion at the ends. There are overhanging stretches called sticky ends on each strand. These are named so because they form hydrogen bonds with their complementary cut counterparts. This stickiness or stiffness of the ends also facilitates the action of the enzyme DNA ligase. Restriction endonucleases are used in genetic engineering to form recombinant molecules of DNA, which is composed of DNA from different sources or different genomes. When cut by the same restriction enzyme, the resultant DNA fragments have the same kind of sticky ends. These can be joined together, that means end to end, using DNA ligases. The DNA ligase is otherwise called as splicing enzyme. It helps to join donor as well as vector DNA. Unless one cuts the vector, the source DNA with the same restriction enzyme, the recombinant vector molecules cannot be created. Agarose gel electrophoresis is employed to check the progression of the restriction enzyme digestion. Then how does the isolation of desired DNA fragment carried out with the help of agarose gel electrophoresis? The cutting of DNA by molecular scissors, that is generally called as restriction endonucleases, results in the fragments of DNA. These fragments can be separated by a technique known as agarose gel electrophoresis or gel electrophoresis. Electrophoresis is a technique of separation of molecules like DNA, RNA, proteins under the influence of electric field. Since DNA are negatively charged, try to remember DNA are negatively charged molecules. They can be separated by forcing them to move towards the anode under electric field through a medium or matrix. Nowadays, the most commonly used matrix is agarose, which is a natural polymer extracted from seaweeds. The DNA fragment separates or resolve according to the size through sieving effect provided by the agarose gel. Hence, smaller the fragment size, the further it moves. The differential mobility of DNA depends upon charge and size of DNA. The separated DNA fragments can be visualized only after staining the DNA with compound known as ethium bromide. Try to remember ethium bromide. Repeatedly asked a question from NEET. The staining the DNA with compound known as ethium bromide followed by the exposure to ultraviolet radiation. We cannot see pure DNA fragments in the visible light and without staining. Bright orange colored bands of DNA in a ethium bromide stained gel exposed to UV light is observed. The separated bands of DNA are cut out from the agarose gel and extracted from gel piece. This step is known as elution. This term also you try to remember. What is elution? The DNA fragments purified in this way are used in constructing recombinant DNA by joining them with the cloning vectors or can be amplified by the PCR. PCR means polymerase chain reaction. Everything is given very clearly with the help of diagrammatic representation. You try to understand the concept clearly. Agarose gel electrophoresis followed by another important topic, cloning vectors. Plasmid and bacteriophages have the ability to replicate within bacterial cell independent of the control of chromosomal DNA. If we link an alien piece of DNA with bacteriophage or plasmid DNA, we can multiply its numbers equal to the copy number of the plasmid or bacteriophage. Vectors used at present are engineered in such a way that they help easy linking of foreign DNA and selection of recombinants from non-recombinants. Bacteriophages are, because of their high copy number per cell, have very high copy number of their genome within the bacterial cells. Some plasmids may have only 1 or 2 copies per cells, whereas others may have 15 to 100 copies per cell. Their number can go even higher. Try to remember the diagrammatic representation. Now we are going to discuss features required to facilitate cloning into a vector. First one is ORI. It is generally called as origin of replication. This is a sequence from where replication starts, and any piece of DNA when linked to this sequence can be made to replicate within the host cells. This sequence is also responsible for controlling the copy number of the linked DNA. So if we want to recover many copies of the target DNA, it should be cloned in a vector whose origins support high copy number. Plasmids are suitable vectors for gene cloning because they are small circular DNA within their own ORI site. Second thing is selectable marker. In addition to ORI, the vector requires a selectable marker which helps in identifying and eliminating non-transformants and selectively permitting the growth of the transformants. Transformation is a procedure through which a piece of DNA is introduced in a host bacterium. Normally, the genes encoding resistance to antibiotics such as ampicillin, chloramphenicol, tetracycline or kanamycin, etc. are considered useful selectable markers for E. coli bacterium. The normal E. coli cells do not carry resistance against any of these antibiotics. So, if a recombinant DNA bearing gene for resistance to antibiotic, for example ampicillin, is transferred into E. coli, the host cells become transformed into ampicillin resistant cells. If we spread the transformed cells on agar plates containing ampicillin only, transformants will grow and transformant recipient cell will die. Since due to ampicillin resistance gene, one is able to select a transformed cell in the presence of ampicillin. The ampicillin resistant gene in this case is called selectable marker. Then the third one is cloning sites. To link the alien DNA, the vector needs to have very few, preferably single recognition sites for the commonly used restriction enzymes. Presence of more than one recognition site within the vector will generate several fragments which will complicate the gene cloning. The ligation of alien DNA is carried out at a restriction site present in one of the two antibiotic resistance gene. For example, we can ligate a foreign DNA at the BAMHI site of the tetracycline resistant gene in the vector PBR322. The technique is insertion of a desired gene into DNA of plasmid vector is called gene splicing. With the help of DNA ligase, foreign DNA fragment is joined. This is called splicing. The recombinant plasmids will lose tetracycline resistance due to insertion of foreign DNA but can still be selected out from non-recombinant ones by plating the transformants on ampicillin containing medium. The transformants growing on ampicillin containing medium are then transferred on a medium containing tetracycline. The recombinants will grow in ampicillin containing medium but not on that containing tetracycline. But the non-recombinants will grow on the medium containing both the antibiotics. In this slide, PBR 322 with different restriction sites are given. Try to remember. What you know about PBR? From PBR, P stands for plasmid, B stands for Bolivar, O stands for Rodriguez. This PBR 322 plasmid constructed by Bolivar and Rodriguez in the year of 1977 in the laboratory. In this case, one antibiotic resistant gene, that is AMP power R, helps in selecting the transformants, and other antibiotic resistant gene, that is tetracycline TET power R, gets inactivated due to the insertion of alien DNA and helps in the selection of recombinants. Selection of recombinants due to inactivation of antibiotics is a cumbersome procedure because it requires simultaneous plating on two plates having different antibiotics. Therefore, alternative selectable markers have been developed which differentiate recombinants from non-recombinants on the basis of their ability to produce color in the presence of chromogenic substrate. In this, recombinant DNA is inserted within the coding sequence of the enzyme beta galactosidase. This results into inactivation of enzyme, which is referred to as insertional inactivation. The presence of chromogenic substrate gives blue colored colonies if the plasmid in the bacteria does not have an insert. Presence of insert result into insertional inactivation of the beta galactosidase and the colonies do not produce any color of these identified as recombinant colonies. It is followed by vectors for cloning genes in plants and animals. What are the different types of vectors used to clone genes in plants and animals? First one is vector for plant. Agrobacterium tumefaciens, a pathogen of several dicot plants, is able to deliver a piece of DNA called tDNA to transform normal plant cells into tumor and direct these tumor cells to produce the chemicals required by the pathogen. The tumor inducing, it is generally called as Ta plasmid, found in Agrobacterium tumefaciens, has now been modified into cloning vector, which is no more pathogenic to the plant, but it is still able to use the mechanics to deliver gene of interest into the variety of plants. E. coli and Agrobacterium are two bacteria which are most useful in genetic engineering. Try to remember which are the two bacterial species are very much used in the field of genetic engineering. Then the second vector is vector of animal. Retroviruses in animals have the ability to transform normal cells into cancerous cells. A better understanding of the art of delivering genes by pathogens in the eukaryotic host has generated knowledge to transform these tools of pathogens into useful vectors for delivering gene of interest to humans. So, once a gene or a DNA fragment has been ligated into a suitable vector, it is transferred into a bacterial, plant, or animal host where it multiplies. It is followed by transferring the recombinant DNA into host, that is the competent host for transformation with recombinant DNA. Since DNA is a hydrophilic molecule, it cannot pass through cell membrane. In order to force bacteria to take up the plasmid, the bacterial cells must first be made competent to take up DNA. The first method is this is done by treating them with a specific concentration of a divalent cation such as calcium, which increases the efficiency with which DNA enters the bacterium through pores in its cell wall. Recombinant DNA can then be forced into such cells by incubating the cell with recombinant DNA on ice, followed by placing them briefly at 42 degrees Celsius heat shock and then putting them back on ice. This enables the bacteria to take up the recombinant DNA. Then the second method is microinjection, especially this procedure carried out in animals. In microinjection, recombinant DNA is directly injected into the nucleus of an animal cell. Then the third method is biolistic or gene gun. This method carried out in plants. Biolistic or gene gun method is suitable for plants. In biolistic, the cells are bombarded with high velocity microparticles of gold or tungsten coated with DNA. It is followed by the fourth method. It is disarmed pathogen. In this method, we use disarmed pathogen vectors, which, when allowed to infect the cell, transfer the recombinant DNA into the host. Then the another important topic is process of recombinant DNA technology. Recombinant DNA technology involves several steps in a specific sequence such as isolation of DNA, fragmentation of DNA by restriction endonucleases, isolation of desired DNA fragment, ligation of the DNA fragment into vector, it is generally called as formation of recombinant DNA, transferring the recombinant DNA into host cell, it is followed by culturing the host cell in a medium at large scale and And the last one is extraction of desired product. So these are the process carried out in the field of recombinant DNA technology. Let us discuss one by one. The first step is isolation of genetic material, that is isolation of DNA. Nucleic acid is a genetic material of all organisms without exception. In majority of organisms, this is DNA. In order to cut the DNA with a restriction enzyme, it needs to be a pure form, free from other macromolecules. Since the DNA is enclosed within a membranes, we have to break the cell open to release DNA along with other macromolecules such as RNA, protein, polysaccharides, and also lipids. This can be achieved by treating the bacterial cells or plant or animal tissues with enzymes such as lysozyme used to treat bacterial cell wall, cellulase is an enzyme used to treat plant cell wall, chitinase is another kind of enzyme used to treat fungal cell wall, etc. Genes are located on long molecules of DNA intertwined with proteins such as histones. The RNA can be removed by treatment with ribonucleases, whereas protein can be removed by treatment with protease. Other molecule can be removed by appropriate treatments, and purified DNA ultimately precipitate out after the addition of a chilled ethanol. This can be seen as a collection of fine threads in suspension. DNA that separates out can be removed by spooling. Try to remember the term spooling. After isolating genetic material, that is DNA, cutting of DNA at specific locations carried out. This is the second method. A restriction enzyme digestions are performed by incubating purified DNA molecules with the restriction enzyme at the optimal conditions for the specific enzyme. Agarose gel electrophoresis is employed to check the progression of a restriction enzyme digestion. The DNA is a negatively charged molecule, hence it moves towards the positive electron, that is anode. The process is repeated with the vector DNA also. The joining of DNA involves several processes. After having cut the source DNA as well as the vector DNA with a specific restriction enzyme, the cutout gene of interest from the source DNA and the cut vector with space are mixed and ligase is added. This results in the preparation of recombinant DNA. It is followed by amplification of gene of interest using polymerase chain reaction. It is generally called as PCR. PCR stands for polymerase chain reaction. The amplified fragments of desired DNA can now be used to ligate with a vector for further cloning. Each cycle has 3 steps. Step 1, denaturation. Second step is primer annealing. Third step is extension of primers. In this reaction, the multiple copies of gene, that is DNA, in this reaction, multiple copies of the gene or DNA of interest is synthesized in vitro using 2 sets of primers, small chemically synthesized oligonucleotides that are complementary to the regions of DNA, and the enzyme DNA polymerase primer provide 5 sites to the enzyme. The enzyme extends the primers using the nucleotides provided in the reaction and the genomic DNA as template. If the process of replication of DNA is repeated many times, the segment of DNA can be amplified to approximately billion times. For example, 1 billion copies are made. Such repeated amplification is achieved by the use of a thermostable DNA polymerase that is isolated from a bacterium Thermus aquaticus, which active during the high temperature induced denaturation of double stranded DNA. Refer the diagrammatic representation, it is very clearly given. It is followed by the another technique, insertion of recombinant DNA into the host cell or organism. This is the fourth step. There are several methods of introducing the ligated DNA into recipient cells. Recipient cells, after making them competent to receive, take up DNA present in its surroundings. So if a recombinant DNA bearing gene for resistance to an antibiotic, that is ampicillin, is transferred into E. coli cells, the host cells become transformed into ampicillin resistant cells. If we spread the transformed cells on agar plates containing ampicillin, only transformants will grow. Untransformed recipient cells will die, since due to ampicillin resistant gene, one is able to select a transformed cells in the presence of ampicillin. The ampicillin resistant gene in this case is called as selectable marker. The next step is obtaining the foreign gene product. In almost all recombinant technologies, the ultimate aim is to produce desirable protein. Hence, there is need for the recombinant DNA to be expressed under appropriate conditions. If any protein encoding gene is expressed in a heterologous host, it is called as recombinant protein. The cells harboring cloned genes of interest may be grown on a small scale in the laboratory. Small volume of cultures cannot yield appreciable quantities of products. To produce in large quantities, the development of bioreactors where large volume, that is 100 to 1000 liters of culture can be processed, was required. A bioreactor provides the optimal conditions for achieving the desirable product by providing optimum growth condition such as temperature, pH, substrate, salts, vitamin, oxygen, everything. The most commonly used bioreactors are the stirring type. A stirred tank reactor is usually cylindrical or with a curved base to facilitate the mixing of the reactor contents. Refer the diagrammatic representation. It is very clearly given. The stirrer facilitates even mixing and oxygen availability throughout the bioreactor. Alternatively, air can be bubbled through a reactor. Bioreactor has agitator system, an oxygen delivery system, a foam control system, a temperature control system, a pH control system, sampling, that is sampling ports so that small volumes of culture can be withdrawn periodically. Refer the diagrammatic representation. It is very clearly given, everything with labeling. Then the final step is downstreaming processing. After completion of the biosynthetic stage, the product has to be subjected through a series of processes before it is ready for marketing as a finished product. The processes include separation and purification, which are collectively referred to as downstream processing. The product has to be formulated with suitable preservatives. Such formulation has to undergo through clinical trials, as in case of drugs. Strict quality control testing for each product is also required. The downstream processing and quality control testing vary from product to product. So successfully we have completed the topic biotechnology, principles and processes in one shot. To get more information, you are requested to visit our website edalacademy.in. Get unlimited free question papers as well as free online test. Thank you. All the best.
மறக்காம லைக் பண்ணுங்க, ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க, கமெண்ட் பண்ணுங்க, சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணுங்க. நன்றி, வணக்கம்.